It's all in the mindset. I'm sure you have heard people say about mindset, and especially success mindset. This is what we are going to talk about today. This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Muirore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on a subject. And always we have some wonderful, wonderful guests. Today, we have a wonderful guest. His name is known as Ryan Gottfredson, Ph.D. holder, a cutting edge leadership development author, researcher, and consultant. And he helps organizations to develop their leaders primarily through a focus on mindsets. He's also a professor at the College of Business and Economics at California State University-Fullerton. So this is just the right person that we should have on our show. And without taking one more minute, please help me to welcome our wonderful guest to talk on the four mindsets that shape everything we do. Ryan Gottfredson.
Woohoo! I think you called me wonderful 3 times. I don't even think my wife would call me wonderful 3 times. So Anthony, you're talking me up. Thank you.
You were counting? You are wonderful. You're wonderful. I have seen the things that you do out there, and you are the kind of people that we need around. Because of many things. So let me know, and let the listener or the person watching know from which part of the world are you?
Yes, so I'm in Southern California. I am in Orange County, pretty close to where Disneyland is. So I love living here. It's great. As you had mentioned in the introduction, I'm a leadership professor at Cal State Fullerton. If you haven't heard of Cal State Fullerton, that's okay. I hadn't either before I even applied. But we actually have the 4th largest business school in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a big operation, over 10,000, about 10,000 business school students. And I teach and do research on leadership. And then I also leverage my research and my findings to then help organizations to develop their leaders. And as you mentioned, through a focus on mindset. So I'm happy to talk through, any topics related to leadership, personal development, mindsets, and how we can become transformationally better.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to have you here. We are honored.
Great to be here. Yeah, thanks for creating this platform.
Yeah, and as I was introducing, I talked about mindset. I've heard people say it's all in the mindsets, and I guess also the person who listening has heard this phrase again and again. But to start with, what is a mindset?
Yeah, I think to your point, almost everybody throws around this term mindsets. But I'm not sure many people truly understand what mindsets are. So let's start at the surface level. And as we go on, we'll kind of deepen our understanding of mindsets. And at the surface level, our mindsets are the mental lenses that we wear that shape how we view the world. So the reality is that 2 different people can experience the same thing, but interpret that situation very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, one person, when receiving constructive criticism, their mindsets can interpret that constructive criticism as an attack. And when they do that, they get defensive. But our mindsets could also interpret constructive criticism as a great opportunity to learn and grow. And when we interpret it in that way, we don't get defensive. We actually become more open and we embrace that constructive criticism for our benefit. So that's just a really quick example to kind of demonstrate a couple of key elements about mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
One, our mindsets operate automatically and non-consciously, right? Our reaction to that constructive criticism is a knee-jerk reaction. And it's the quality of our mindsets that dictate whether we go towards a more self-protective response or if we go towards more of a value-creating response.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, maybe it's the same thing that I've heard people say. They look at a glass and one says this glass is half full, the other one says it's half empty. because their mindsets are set in such a way that one sees the positive, the other one sees a decreasing value in whatever it is they're looking at.
Yes. And
Uh-huh.
here's the tricky thing about it, right? If we had a group of 100 people, and if we asked them the question, do you have good or high quality mindsets? Don't you think that everybody would raise their hand?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think everybody thinks that they have good or high quality mindsets.
Yeah.
Even
Mm-hmm.
if they're the type of person who gets defensive when they receive constructive criticism, even they think that they have good mindsets. So
Mm.
that's what's tricky about diving into our mindsets. Almost everybody thinks they have good or high quality mindsets. But here's something that I've learned, and I'm sure we'll get into this. But in my research, what I've found is that there's 4 sets of mindsets that have received over 40 years of research attention. And
Mm.
these mindsets range on a continuum from being self-protective to being value creating. And I've even developed a personal assessment that people can take. It's free. It's on my website at ryangottfredson.com. And
Okay.
I've had over 50,000 people take this mindset assessment. And
Mm.
what I've found is that across these 50,000 people, only 2.5% are in the top quartile for all 4 sets of mindsets.
Mm. Interesting.
So very interesting, right? Because almost everybody assumes they have good or high quality mindsets, but only 2.5% really do.
Mm.
So what I've learned is that most of us we have room to improve our mindsets. And
Mm.
here's the cool thing is if we can improve our mindsets, we can transform our life.
Mm. Yeah,
So
sure.
there's value in diving into and understanding these different mindsets, because then gives us something to focus on in order to improve and elevate ourselves.
Wonderful. Maybe you can just dive us into the form. I'm eager to just know the difference, because mostly just think that it's just that one, as you said, that one mindset, my positive mindset. But
Yes.
let's find out.
Okay, so let me get into this. I'm going to ask you a question. So I
Please
need
do.
your help here. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 4 different desires. You tell me if society says these are good or bad desires. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. So the desires are the desire to look good, be right, avoid problems, and get ahead. Does society say these are good or bad?
This, they say they are good.
Right?
Good
Society
things.
says
All of
these are
them.
good.
Yeah.
Because who likes to look bad, be
No,
wrong, have problems, or get passed up?
nobody.
Nobody, right?
Nobody.
But here's what's interesting about this is when we have these desires, where is our focus?
On ourselves.
On
Definitely.
me.
On
I
me.
want to look good. I
On
want
me.
to be
Yes.
right. I want to avoid problems. I want to get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And these desires are fueled by the more self-protective mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give you labels for these here in just a second. But when I discovered that these desires are connected to self-protective mindsets, it was really eye-opening to me, because I learned that I had all 4 of these mindsets, because
Mm-hmm.
these desires really resonated with me. And
Mm-hmm.
part of the story that I tell myself is I didn't know that there was better desires to have, such
Mm-hmm.
as a desire to learn and grow,
Mm-hmm.
a desire to find truth, a desire to reach goals, and a desire to lift others.
Mm.
And these desires are fueled by the more value creating mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me give you the labels for these mindsets. So I'm going to kind of work from top down. We've
Yeah.
got the first set is fixed, is self-protective, growth is value creating. And that corresponds to the desires between looking good and learning and growing. So when we gave that constructive criticism example earlier,
Mm-hmm.
generally the way that a person leans when they receive constructive criticism is based upon whether they have more of a fixed mindset or whether they have more of a growth mindset. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It does make sense. So let me just be clear. These are two: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Yep. So
I
those
hope
are
I hope
that's
that
the first set.
that's
Yes.
the first set, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So
Yep.
one does not, it just says, I am who I am, and there's nothing I can do. So whatever it is that you're saying about me, that's your opinion. Stay with your opinion. And the other one says, okay, what is that you've said? Is there something that I can do? Is there some way you can help me to work on that? So that's the growth mindset.
Yes. Spot
Yeah.
on. You've got it. Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's the first set. The next set is the
Yeah.
difference between a closed mindset and an open mindset. When
Mm-hmm.
we have a closed mindset, we're focused on being right. When we have an open mindset, we're focused on finding truth and thinking optimally. And here's what's tricky about this, right? Because if I want to find truth and think optimally,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be willing to admit that I'm wrong at times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the ways, if we just wanted to kind of do a quick self-assessment, one way to kind of self-assess the quality of your mindset along this continuum is, how willing are you to admit that you're wrong? And that'll give us a sense of that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
closed and open. Does that make sense? Or do you have any questions on that set?
It does make sense. It does make sense. It does make
Okay.
sense. Just go on. Maybe questions will come as you keep moving.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, the third set is the difference between a prevention mindset and a promotion mindset. So when we have
Mm-hmm.
a prevention mindset, we're primarily focused on avoiding problems and ensuring our comfort.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a promotion mindset, we are willing to get out of our comfort zone in order to accomplish goals, objectives, and hopefully a higher ordered purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we find, what I see, is a lot of employees and organizations have a prevention mindset.
Mm.
They kind of just say, I want you to employ me, and I want you to make my life essentially as comfortable as possible. And if you can do that, then I will do work for you.
Mm.
And so a lot of people with the prevention mindset just kind of have a tendency to kind of just go and do the things that are expected of them, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily have any very strong goals, aspirations, or a strong individual purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned is that if we want to have a promotion mindset, we need two things. We need a clear destination, and we need a why for getting there.
Okay.
And if we can connect to those two things, generally we'll develop more of a promotion mindset.
Mm. Wonderful.
So that's the third set.
That's a third set. Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. So go on
Okay.
to the fourth set.
The last set is the difference between an inward mindset and an outward mindset.
Uh-huh.
When we have an inward mindset, we're focused on us and our success, and we don't want to fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have an outward mindset, we are much more focused on others. And I think here's one of the best ways to think about this. It all relates to how we see others in relation to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if we see ourselves as more important than others, we will have a tendency to see them as objects.
Mm-hmm.
But when we see others as being just as important as ourselves, it allows us to see them as people and to value them as such.
Mm-hmm.
And that difference can make a world of difference. Let me even give you a quick example.
Sure.
When I work with my college students, what I find is generally at least 60% of them have more of an inward mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting because every semester with my students, I throw them into teams of 5. And so what that means is, if, let's just say 60% of them have an inward, 40% have an outward. That means 3 of them are coming into that group setting thinking, how are you all going to help me be successful?
Mm-hmm.
And only 2 of them are coming into that setting thinking, how can I help the group be successful? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got that dynamic, 3 out of the 5 that are focused on their own success, do you think that group is going to operate at a high level?
No.
No, not at all, right?
No. Yeah.
So this inward and outward mindset, it is a mindset that impacts every single relationship in our lives.
Mm.
So that's the fourth set. So
Okay.
do those all make sense, or what
Yeah,
questions?
they do make sense. They do make sense. A lot of sense. Well, the question that maybe could someone could be asking is that how do we arrive at that? Those kind of, how did it come to be that those people who are focused on themselves, uh, being a researcher, maybe you've come up with an idea of how you all arrived there.
Yeah, well, let's start looking at the self-protective side. How
Yeah.
do people come to develop the self-protective mindsets, the fix, close, prevention, and inward? Well,
Mm.
there's two dominant factors, and I'm going to classify them, and they're very broad, but I'm going to say our life's experience and our current culture.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we've learned in terms of life experience is that the more trauma one is experienced in their life, the more inclined their body is to be wired for self-protection.
Mm.
So that's a factor related to our life's experience. So if we had a rough childhood, which is most people,
Yeah.
our childhood has caused us to develop more self-protective mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't just our childhood experiences, right? So the second factor is our current culture.
Mm.
So if we work or operate in an environment where it doesn't feel safe, either physically or psychologically, then naturally our body will adapt more self-protective mindsets to keep us safe in that perceived unsafe environment.
Mm.
So almost all of us, as I mentioned, have some self-protective wiring.
Yeah.
And our wiring comes from generally one of these two sources.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't really matter what source it comes from. What matters is that we have some self-protective wiring.
Mm.
And if we can awaken to that, then we could do something about it. So that's how we come to have more of the self-protective mindsets. I'm happy to discuss how do we develop more of the value-creating mindsets. But do you have any questions related to how we come to have the mindsets that we have?
I think I don't have any question on that. I'm looking forward to know how to just go about it so that
Okay.
we go to the
Yeah.
value, creating value. Yeah, the direction of adding value and being productive.
Yeah. So how do we develop these value creating mindsets? Well, one, at the core, it starts with self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to become aware of what these mindsets are, and we've got to evaluate our own mindsets. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I developed my mindset assessment to help people to do that. And if you were to take my mindset assessment, you would find that you probably have some value creating mindsets and some self-protective mindsets. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
you have those self-protective mindsets, now that gives you clarity on what you need to focus on.
Mm.
And so let's just say I take the mindset assessment and I have a fixed mindset. So what do I do from there? How do I develop more of a growth mindset? Well, what's really helpful to understand is that at a foundational level, our mindsets are neural connections in our brain that are responsible for our foundational processing.
Mm-hmm.
So when information comes into our brain, such as I see a glass that's half empty or half full, right? It's our mindset neural connections that automatically interpret, is that glass half empty or is it half full?
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
These are foundational neural connections. And we all in our brain, I guess to simplify it, is we have a fixed mindset neural connection and we have a growth mindset neural connection. We
Mm-hmm.
have both.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that we use the most is the one that becomes stronger.
Mm.
So these neural connections are a lot like our muscles. So if we have
Yeah.
a fixed mindset, that just means that because of our life experience or our current culture, that's become the stronger neural connection, and that becomes the default mode by which I process information.
True.
That doesn't mean that I can't turn on a growth mindset. I can. I've just got to be intentional about doing it. And so when we think about mindsets in this way, I think it's easy to see that if we want to shift our mindsets, what we've got to do is we've got to hit the gym for our brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't become strong by going to the gym once. The only way that I become strong is by going to the gym again and again and again and again and again. Right?
Being consistent.
And the
Yeah.
same thing goes with our mindsets. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things that I've developed is a set of tools and resources like books, articles, videos, journaling questions, discussion questions, even exercises to work on your self-talk. These are small little interventions that if we can engage in these on almost a daily basis, over the course of 30 days, we're going to see a significant shift in our mindsets. And so what I generally recommend to people is they need to, if they want to develop a growth mindset, they've got to exercise their growth mindset neural connections at least 4 days a week, at least 10 minutes a day. And if they can do that, they're going to start to move the needle on their mindsets. And once they move the needle on their mindsets, they're going to start to think differently. They're going to start to behave differently, and they're going to have higher levels of effectiveness and performance in any sphere of their life.
Yeah, makes sense. And now, when you're working with organizations and you're meeting different kinds of people, because even though we have self-centered mindsets, and not all of us have the same level of mindset. How do you work out that when you meet with people with varying levels of self-interest and others who are there to help and have a growth mindset?
Well, when I'm working with groups of people, one of the things that I do is I'll have them all take my mindset assessment. So they'll get their own individual reports. But then what I do on the back end is I aggregate those results up to the collective level. And we can look collectively as a group or as an organization, what are the qualities of our mindsets? And when I've worked with leaders, I would say 95% of the groups that I've worked with, leadership groups that I've worked with, 95% of them, the mindset set that they struggle with the most is a fixed mindset. So that's commonly what I will then, we'll then do some work and engage in some efforts to help the group collectively shift from a fixed to a growth mindset. And so there's different efforts that we can engage in there. When I work with individuals or individuals on a one-on-one basis, then generally I've got a coaching process that's designed to help them awaken to out of these 4 sets of mindsets, which mindset is most getting in their way. And once we can identify that, then I could work with them to develop a personal plan to develop more of the value creating mindset.
Wow, that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey? Maybe your personal one or your client's one?
Well, so I would say, multiple challenges. On a personal level, one of the things that I'll credit is some of my past challenges has been what has helped me discover that I don't have the best mindsets. So I imagine there's a lot of people out there that's like me, where they kind of feel like, I know I have the talent, the knowledge, and the skills to be successful, but maybe we're not as successful as we want to be. And if that's the case, it's generally because we have some self-protective mindsets. And that was the case for me. So going through some difficult experiences can help us to awaken to the quality of our mindsets. And I would say just beyond that, just in terms of what I'm doing now, is I write books and I share these ideas with groups. And I think that my inherent challenge is, how do we get this message out to more people, right? Because I just know most people have mindsets that work against their goals and their aspirations. And the only way that they're going to be able to get towards their goals and aspirations is to help them awaken. So that's why I'm so grateful for people like you who have created a platform that allows me to kind of share this message to help people awaken to their foundational mindsets.
Thank you very much. You're most welcome. And yeah, that's true. That's the reason that we are having these conversations, that we can reach more people, that with the information that you have, the exercises you do with the people, how you help people come up. There are those who know their problems. There are those who are going through some problems, but they don't know the way out. And unless you speak out, unless you reach out to them, they will always stay there, unsuccessful, people who are almost giving up hope. And it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah, so easy. And I've done this, right? So I'm as guilty as anybody with this. It's so easy to blame our external circumstances for our lack of success.
Yeah.
But here's one of the things that I've learned. There's enough examples in the world for anybody to be successful regardless of their circumstances. And what makes people successful is less about their circumstances and so much more about their mindsets.
Mindset is everything, as we said in the beginning. The mindset is everything. Now you're doing a wonderful work, and you keep reaching out to us to improve on our mindset. And we are wishing you all the best. We are wishing that you reach as many people as you possibly can to make a good impact on this planet as you're living. Now, please tell us what's next for you. What things are happening in your life, and what could be the next thing that we could be expecting to hear from you sometime soon?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. Well, the thing that I'm most excited about is my new book just came out 2 weeks ago, at least when we're recording this. So the book is called Becoming Better, the
Oh,
groundbreaking science of personal transformation.
yeah.
And so this will give you, if you're looking for some guidance, some clear guidance on how to upgrade and elevate your mindsets, I think this is the place to go. So I appreciate the opportunity to share that. And then if people want to connect with me, of course, I've on all social media platforms, would love to connect with anybody. And in fact, I'll throw this out there. If you're listening to this and you take one of my assessments, particularly my mindset assessment, let me know, and I'll be willing to jump on a call to talk you through your results. So would be happy to do that for anybody who wants to take me up on it.
So how do they find out? How do they find you?
Yeah, go to my website is one of the places, ryangottfredson.com, or look me up on any social media platform and you could find me.
Okay, wonderful. So you had that. Go to ryangottfredson.com and find Ryan. Now, that name, Gottfredson, I haven't seen it before. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about it. All I know is it's Danish,
Yes.
and it's the only Danish in me. Apparently, there's some guy back in the early 1800s that was in Denmark. He immigrated to England, and then he immigrated to the United States, and he had 3 sons. The Gottfredsons that I'm aware of that spell it the way that I do come from one of those 3 sons. So.
Okay. That's good for us to know. We thank you. We thank you, Ryan, for coming to our show. This is some important information that we know we're going to apply in our own life to be better people, to achieve success. And thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
We haven't come to the end, but we are almost coming to the end. Before we go, I love asking our visitors, our guests, to tell us something that we should never forget. What's that for Ryan?
Oh man, there's so many things. We've kind of covered what is naturally comes to mind given our conversation is
Mm-hmm.
just the idea that our success starts with our mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
They truly are the most foundational aspect of who we are. And so if we can awaken to that foundational aspect of who we are, we can become more of the people that we want to become and have more of the impact that we want to have.
It's all in the mindset. You've heard that. You've heard that. And after hearing that, is only to go and apply whatever it is that you've heard from now. Tell us this wonderful day. And just a reminder, don't forget to go to ryangottfredson.com and connect with Ryan. Okay, tell us about your best hobby. Tell us about something about you that people could find interesting.
Oh man, I'd like to think that kind of being an author and a professor is somewhat interesting, but things that I like to do for fun is normally I like to run, cycle, play basketball, go boogie boarding at the beach. But I injured my knee back in January, so I tore my patella tendon, and so I'm rehabbing that at the moment, and it's coming along. But I'm itching to get back out on the trail and get back out in the surf. So.
Wow, and we wish you all the best in everything, in your basketball, in your running, and
Thank you.
yeah. Once again, thank you very much, Ryan, for the wonderful job that you're doing. Thank you for coming to our show today. And we look forward to hearing from you someday in the near future as you keep rising and rising and impacting the world.
I love it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So that's it for now. Each and every one of you who's listening or watching, even if you are hearing or watching this after it's being recorded, we appreciate your time. Please remember to subscribe to our channels. This is Now Tell Us. I have been your host, Anthony Murure. And together with our wonderful guest today, Ryan Gottfredson, we're saying bye for now.